Hello, I'm Dr. Al Larson. This is my trading office and research office for Micromedia, and I would like to tell you who I am and what I have done in markets, my approach to markets. I think you're going to find that it's totally unique. First of all, let's start with who I am. I'm an experienced veteran of many years and decades of living on this earth, many of them having great events of chaos. I grew up in the beautiful Black Hills in South Dakota in a little valley called Grizzly Gulch. We had a little farmette and a couple cows. I learned to hunt for cows, shovel cow shit, which put me in good stead later in life for dealing with bullshit. I was taught very well by my parents. My mother taught me about nature and planning. My father taught me about business and carpentry. He taught me to be a good carpenter in case this college thing did not work out. As a young man, I was quite intrigued by everything in nature and how it worked. How did the crocus know to come up through the snow and bloom? And as I got older, I wanted to know how everything worked. I became a people watcher. When I was in high school, I read a book that was titled Machines Who Think. That was the origin of me being interested in machine automation of all kinds. I was fortunate enough to win an appointment to the U.S. Air Force Academy. At that time, and still to an extent today, the academic curriculum at the Air Force Academy was based upon the whole man concept. There were courses. Every cadet had to take 2 courses in every discipline. That meant I had 2 courses in economics, 2 courses in political science, along with my 2 courses in electrical engineering, astronautics, aeronautical engineering, mechanical engineering, and after you took those 2 courses, you could specialize in a field, and I specialized in what was called engineering science. When the Air Force Institute of Technology looked at my transcript to decide what I was qualified to go to graduate school in, they qualified me in electrical engineering, astronautical engineering, aeronautical engineering, and mechanical engineering, and physical education. I was never a jock, but I had intramural sports and physical education for 4 years. One of the most significant things that happened when I was at the Air Force Academy, in 1961, I wrote my first computer program. It was an astronautics course. We wrote the code in Fortran, and we punched it out on cards. The problem we were solving was to take 3 sightings of a satellite and compute its orbit, and then the second part of the problem was to figure out the flight path of a missile to intercept that satellite. If you've seen the recent movie Hidden Figures, and you see that lady standing in front of the computer with the Fortran manual, I was there. And interestingly enough, we didn't have a computer at the academy to run our code. One of the professors sent this stuff out to UCLA via mail, and we'd wait 3 weeks for a turnaround. Then we'd find out that we typed something wrong on the card and the program didn't even run. So we learned to sit and execute our programs by hand to check them before we sent them off. And I still do that. I believe if you write a computer program, you better be able to execute it yourself by hand and make sure it's right before you run it. After I graduated from the Air Force Academy in 1964, I went to pilot training in Selma, Alabama. Boy, was that an education for a Yankee boy. I learned all about racism. I was there the summer after the Selma March happened. After pilot training, I became a flight instructor in T-33, T-38, and there I really learned to teach. I had to teach people without looking at them, and when I teach people, I like to watch their eyes and see if they're getting the material. On an airplane, when I'm sitting behind the student, I couldn't do that. So I learned to take my biofeedback from their breathing. And I did pretty well because in a program that lost 1/3 of the students, I never lost a soul. Also, while I was a flight instructor, a fellow flight instructor was into markets, John Sullivan. I made my first stock trade in 1966. John was much better than me. When the Air Force tried to send him to Minot, he told him no, he was getting out of the Air Force because he had made a big short and made $1 million. So he walked away from the Air Force. I wound up in Vietnam as a forward air controller. There's a whole story behind that I don't want to go into. I did fly 406 combat missions, and I got shot at on many of them. After Vietnam, the Air Force sent me back to the University of Wisconsin, where I earned a PhD in electrical and computer engineering. The curriculum was designed to teach, we were being taught how to design digital computers from the ground up. And at the same time, the 4004 microprocessor came out. And I recognized that the world of digital design had just changed from discrete chip design to integrated circuits. I went back to the Air Force Academy, teach, and there I came up with something very simplest possible computer that you can build. 4 bits. 4 bits meant it had 16 words of memory, had 16 instructions, but you could actually write simple programs using that 4-bit computer. I wrote a program text for that, and that became the vehicle to teach over 10,000 cadets how digital computers worked. I'm very proud of that accomplishment. I also did a microprocessor version with the 8008 and wrote the curriculum for what became called the computer track. And while I was there, I built my first home computer using the 8080 microprocessor, and this was before IBM came out with the PC. So I was an early adapter of the new technology. Things were going downhill in the Air Force for me. After Vietnam, they decided they needed to cut back on pilots, and promotions became scarce and hard to get. Simultaneously, our third son was born retarded, and I had to do something to provide him more secure living conditions. So, as luck would have it, Bell Laboratories was advertising for positions in Denver, and I joined them there. And at the time, Bell Laboratories was the premier research institution in the world, owned by AT&T, the richest company in the world. First day I went to work, a friend of mine called me up who was a technician for Mountain Bell and welcomed me to the most secure job in the world. Not. I spent 13 years there. I worked on advanced prototypes, network computers, local area networks, fiber-based video information system called Campus of the Future, sort of a prototype of the internet, and I became an engineering supervisor. But the company went into a death spiral, and I decided that I needed to leave. And after tell you how bad it is, Bell Labs no longer exists. The AT&T that you see nowadays is simply a wireless company that bought the name after the real AT&T disappeared. So that platform was sucked out from under me. So there goes career number one. Career number two, I decided to go home and do it myself and not make myself subject to any more hierarchies of people who didn't know how to manage and couldn't see the future. So I've spent the last 26 years as studying commodity markets and stock markets and trading, and I developed a theory of market astrophysics, market chaos, and personal astrophysics. My goals are simply to understand creation, and I'll tell you up front, it's all energy. And I wanted to be able to compute future market prices, independent of price. I wanted to be able to compute something from the physics of the system. And that turns out to be energy too. I wanted to be financially independent, and knock on wood, I have been for 26 years and still am going. The other thing that has always been important to me is to help others along the way. When I die and go get my end-of-life review up in heaven, no one's going to ask me how much money I made. The only thing they're going to ask me is who did you help and how. So, in summary, I've learned that from the stars to the sun to our atmosphere, through our bodies, through our brains, flows a powerful energy field, and it shows up in every price chart. It shows up in every price chart. So I've spent years researching that, and I've developed a comprehensive theory of how everything works. And I've developed equations from that theory for both short and long-range forecasts. And I've discovered fractal trading patterns. The Honula market fractal and the fractal of pi. And I've developed fractal indicators, primarily fractal efficiency, which measures how efficient a move is going up or down. And that's all based on energy field, or chaos theory, I mean. And I've developed some unique trading courses. And all my research has been done with programs I wrote myself. As my son came of age and wanted to start learning markets, I realized that I had to give him a programming platform, a commercial programming platform. So I chose NinjaTrader, and with the help of my son Mark, we've been developing NinjaTrader tools so that I can offer the tools not only to him, but to students. I'm going to back off a little and tell you a little bit about the master clock. My mentor, Ev Garrett, who was a former instructor at the Air Force Academy, got me interested in the effect of sunspots on cycles. When I first read Dewey and Dakin's book on cycles, I was mystified by how or what the common denominator was for all these cycles. The lab explained to me that it was something that was researched by cycle researchers in the 1930s, like Stetson and Luby. And they found that a lot of things were dependent upon sunspot cycles and solar cycles. And the model is this. The sun is a big blob of gas. As planets move around, they change the shape of that gas, and that changes how much energy erupts in things like coronal mass ejections, solar flares, etc. That energy rides on the solar wind, comes into Earth, and whips around Earth, where it goes past Earth because we have a magnetic shield around us. So there's this magnetosphere out in front, and energy comes along here. At the poles, this field has a hole in it, at what's called the polar cusp. And we get the auroral oval there. Well, that was fascinating to me, to think that the sun, what happened with the planets and the suns could affect things on Earth. So I volunteered to write a program for F. Garrett that would compute this stirring force on the sun. And that's this blue line going up and down. And that is a calculation I called the master clock, after I looked at all of the cycles in Dewey and Dakin and lined them up all under a plot of this. Every turn in Dewey and Dakin cycles matches up with one of these highs or lows in the stirring force calculation. I published that in Stocks and Commodities and also in Cycles magazine in the article In Search of the Cause of Cycles, and I published it under Dr. Hans Onula. At the time I was working at Bell Labs. No way would those bureaucrats let me publish anything as way out as planets stirring up things and moving prices. So I just avoided the issue. I published it and didn't tell them. So they had their own problems. Now, I thought I'd calculated something that's going to make me rich. Look here, here's a high right here, boom, 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 down, down. But then I started noticing things that this thing turned over right here. That's a low, that's a high. What's happening? Well, what was happening was chaos. And when I started looking at chaos, and looking at energy flow, I came up with another calculation called StarGo. And this is a practical tool for position trading. Now, let me back off now and explain why inversions occur physically. These energy waves come in and they hit the ionosphere. We live in what is called the Earth ionosphere waveguide. Everything we do is hugely influenced by the electromagnetic fields inside that waveguide. That waveguide has a resonant frequency of about 7.8 hertz, called the Schumann frequency, or the Schumann resonance. But when a wave comes in and impinges here, it goes one way around the Earth and second way around the Earth. And once I realized that physically all these electromagnetic waves were going to do that, I had to accept the fact that for every calculation I made, there were going to be at least two versions, a normal one and an inverted one. I also realized, and I did a lot of research on energy flowing through the human body. When you stand on the Earth, you're standing at 0 volts. The ionosphere is about 300,000 volts. That voltage will jump up and down 20% as solar flares hit the ionosphere. that 20% up there throwing through your body changes the current through your body about 250 nanoamperes. That sounds very tiny. Nanoampere is 1/trillionth of an ampere. 1/trillionth. But your brain will make decisions based on differences as low as 1 nanoampere. So these pulses affect how people make decisions. Now, I came up with an equation with a little help from God that I call StarGo. It is a calculation. The only input to this calculation is the date of birth or the first trade date. And you can buy StarGo charts on my website. You can also buy the program that computes this called StarGo. And what I do with StarGo is that I compute this energy forecast. I compute the StarGo and then I smooth it a little bit with a CD filter and plot it in scale. And I plot both the normal and the inverted versions. This is new mining filter with a 263-day filter. And you can see here, it followed the red. Then it got a little choppy as it kind of deciding which one is going to fall. Then here it followed the blue. This is what I use mostly for my stock trading, my long-term trading. Here's another example. This is Facebook. Facebook, the IPO was done on a solar eclipse, and then Mark Zuckerberg, IPO started at 36, it went all the way down here to 18. And then it languished here for nearly 9 months, nearly a year. Then all of a sudden it gapped up right on this blue energy line, a little dip on the red, then it kept going. So that's another example. By playing around with different filters on XOs, you can find minor cycles, major cycles. All I want to do today is just acquaint you with what I do. Now another thing I've come up with are moon tides, which is a practical tool for day trading. The moon has a huge impact on us. And this is a diagram. As the solar wind sweeps around the Earth, the moon goes around the Earth, and when it's between the sun and the Earth, it's new moon. It's dark. Every warrior since the beginning of time probably has learned that you attack your enemy on new moon when it's dark. They are emotionally low. Of course, you've got to get your own troops revved up, but you attack people who are emotionally low, and you get your guys psyched up, and it's dark, and you hit them when they don't see you coming. Now, full moon, romance, negative ions get reflected back into our ionosphere and makes everyone feel giddy. So I spent years researching how the moon worked here, and finally came up with an equation. And this is what I use for my S&P E-mini day trading hotline. This is actually a plot NinjaTrader of today's moontide forecast. And this is before the market opened. I was up early this morning, actually took a couple points there, but I was trying to get this video together. So I missed a good part of this, but what you do with moon tides is just a forecast. It's computed on a model that is not complete. So you have to do something intelligent. If you're going to go on a picnic and you get the weather forecast, but you look outside before you pack the basket, you have to do the same with moon tides. And I found you can use a simple set of exponential moving averages. This is a 20-minute exponential moving average and 110-minute, which by the way is 1 degree of moon motion, and this is a 440. These are tracking exponential moving averages. The basic signal is When the 20 crosses the 110, you buy, or you buy when it comes near the 110 and then goes back up. You reverse that for sells. This trade this morning is very clear. You should buy at 20.95, it looks like, and normally we go for between 3, 5, or 9 points. This one was a good one today. 1, 2, 3 3-point quantums. There's 9 points right there. $450 per contract. Now it's aided by it's aided by this forecast. Now, I will not kid you. Not everyone can trade this. It depends upon your experience. This is what I call a guided discretionary system. You've got to make the trades. You've got to look at these indicators and read them correctly, handle your own psychology, and make the trades. But if you manage to do that on every single trade over the last 180 months, this methodology has not had a losing month. Now, this is really a theoretical curve, so don't think I'm claiming that you can do this. I think I now know how to write a program to do this, but I have been far more interested in the robustness of this approach. But in 180 months, every month has been profitable. 180 months in a row suggests that I'm probably onto something pretty decent. This isn't a great deal of money. It's about 100 points a month, 120 average, I don't know, somewhere around there. But it is a consistent approach that proves that my theories hold water. Now, why don't I just sit and day trade it? Because I am a researcher. I have a great need to understand in gory detail what is happening. This is a screen off of my research computer that instruments all kinds of electromagnetic field phenomena in the E-mini. And I won't begin to explain these. If I told you what they all were, I'd have to kill you. Sorry. But here's one example. You can see a line right here. This morning's little rally went straight up that, came down. And you see this diagonal line? That said we were going up. So what I've done is I've watched how the price particles interact with this electric field, and why some days are better than others. I've worked very long and hard at understanding this, and I've learned a lot. I won't claim I know it all. Now, to support this hotline, I offer a free Thursday email and a free Friday Chaos Clinic. And you can sign up for those at moneytide.com. So that's what I do with moon tides. Over the years, I've developed a number of practical trading courses. I'm a practical person. All of my research has been funded by my own business. I've taken no investments. I've only traded my own money. So everything that I tell you has been backed up by the painful experience of trying it out with my own real money. I have two bread and butter courses, Cash In on Chaos and Fractal Pi. If you take the pair of those, Cash In on Chaos teaches you how chaos shows what it is and how it shows up in markets, and a pattern called the Honiel market fractal. Now that pattern has more detail in it, which makes it much more tradable, and that's called the Fractal Pi. These two courses together are a good starting point if you just want to look at patterns and trade them. There's a third pattern called the Face of God, and it's kind of awesome. And it is a tool based upon planet positions that help you find the energy centers. Now, chaos trading made easy is the course that starts from the other end. It says, okay, you've got a standard trading system. How can you set up your charts to show you when a market is acting normally and when it's going chaotic? There's a boundary between those. This course teaches you how to find that boundary and how to set up indicators, and it includes my own fractal efficiency indicator. If you take this course and you're using NinjaTrader, that indicator is included with the course. If you take all 4 of these courses, you are a certified chaos trader, and on daytradingforecast.com website, you've got a special chat room, and there's also a place where certified chaos traders can share their own charts. Now, I developed a couple other courses. A few years back, I was asked by some hedge fund people to give them just the essentials of what I did. And I created this course for essentials of personal and market astrophysics. And this contains the basic theory and the basic tools and techniques that you need to use if you wanted to go down the path I went in the market. But it also includes the tools that I've learned over the years about how all this affects your own personal energy field and how you handle traumas. Believe me, I've had plenty of them. I was born 42 days after Pearl Harbor. When I was in high school, Sputnik went up. Everything was going chaotic. When I got out of the academy, I went right into Vietnam. Went back to graduate school and the weather wind blew up the math building. I went to teach at the academy and they began downsizing. I joined Bell Labs and the company started falling apart. So trust me, I've learned about chaos. I've learned how it affects you personally. I've made every psychological error known to man or beast. And I can teach you how to find your psychological problems and how to fix them. I'll teach you how to reprogram your belief system. I learned to program computers. I also learned to program belief systems. So that's a good course. I like to teach it on the spring equinox, but it's whenever one or more students want to come. Another course is StarGo, and that's a sort of a strategic pattern course. It's a big pattern, 30 plus years. So here are a couple students taking my Essentials Personal Market Astrophysics, and they're working right there making something called energy traps. They were great students. We had a great time. This is StarGo. Now the StarGo course explains not just this chart, but where this background pattern, this is a pattern, goes up and down, and I've shown it from 94 through 2016. That's a lot of years, and look how it goes up there. That pattern told me that we're likely to have, this is the dot-com boom. This pattern told me that the dot-com bust was probably coming. Now it started up right here. This downturn did not occur. We kept going. But on that high, 2007, this is the crash of 2008. StarGo warned me about that crash. Now, like everything else I do, this is a forecast, this is a tracking indicator. That is a 2-year exponential moving average. My charts actually include weekends, so it's exactly 720 days. Came down here. This is the Obama bull market. Obama took over with the financial crisis just reeling the country. The bailout, the TARP, all the stuff put in place before he took over by a Republican Secretary of Treasury. Amazing. At any rate, the big boys had blown it, but look at this. The physics told me they were going to blow it. Now, I told my kids, this was a buying opportunity somewhere in here in 2009. It got a little choppy in here, but we've been following this StarGo pretty good. I'm not going to tell you what's going on out here. You have to take the course, because I don't just give out the curve. I teach you where it came from so that you'll understand what it is that's causing this. Because I truly believe that if you don't understand it, you'll misuse it. Now, as my son came of age a few years ago, he told me he wanted to learn all about trading, learn my stuff. So he's been coming over every week since then. And I realized that I had to do something to put some of my tools into a commercially available trading program. So I picked NinjaTrader. Turns out programming inside of NinjaTrader is ugly, but my son is very talented, so he's taken my tools from my research software and put them into NinjaTrader. Together, we're building this energy field trading website. The plan is that he's going to use that website to start his own business. He's working as a programming consultant. Someday he won't be. We have an energy field trading data file, which lets you overlay data. An astrocycle, which lets you plot astrocycles on a price chart. Energy field trading flux lines. Flux lines are representations of the magnetic field as created by planets or paraplanets. A lot of interesting things about those. We have something, energy field trading, natural times and natural prices. These last three are fairly complex to use, so I'm going to probably do some courses on how to use these. Okay, that's a long, quick rundown of who I am and what I do. Now it's up to you. You need to take action. If you want to cash in on chaos or capitalize on anything that I've learned in my 52 years here, you need to take action now. I am 75. I realized that last January was my 75th birthday, basically just 3 weeks ago. And I had an epiphany. I'm in the fourth quarter. You know, if you're a football fan, that you can win or lose the game in the fourth quarter. I guess the Patriots proved that. But I'm very healthy. I don't have any major illnesses. I don't even take medicines, except for some prescribed by my anti-aging doctor. But I'll be around a while. My son will keep my website going and add energy field trading. And over the next several years, I'm going to ease back a little as soon as I automate everything so I don't have to look at anything. But my research is done. My theories are done. The code is getting nearly done. So you can get started now. Go to moneytide.com and sign up for a free weekly email. Order one XGO chart. Costs big, 36 bucks. Order it for yourself. Order one for your wife and see how your highs and lows match up. See why you can't get along. Or your spouse or any significant other. Very interesting exercise. Order one for any market. Suggestion, pick a stock. On Friday, now, when you sign up for this free weekly email, you'll get that Thursday night email. Tune in and watch a Chaos Clinic. Then come take some courses. Now, I frequently will put a course on sale just to stimulate some interest. So whenever you go to moneytide.com, check out, see if there's a special offer. In closing, I'd like to tell you something I learned when I was a cadet. There's a statue at the Air Force Academy in front of the dining hall, and it's the fledgling eagle. And on it it says, "Man's flight through life is sustained by the power of his knowledge." And that's by Colonel Austin Dusty Miller. Those words have guided me throughout my life. What you know, how much you know, really does matter. Of course, that also matters how hard you work and how much you are willing to extend yourself to keep learning throughout your life.